Hello everybody! Happy New Year! So I think it's just appropriate that we talk about New Year's resolutions. Whether or not you believe or do that kind of thing, I'm going to share with you a few things that are going to do you good if you have a child that you have around you, whether it's your own or your neighbors that needs help with their speech and language development. So let's get talking. Hello, I'm Teacher Kaye, and if you're new here, I'm a certified speech-language pathologist. But to all of you lovely 600 plus subscribers, thank you for being here again. It's a new year. Let's do this. Feel na feel ko. It's gonna be great. I hope it's not just my optimism. Sana you all can feel that, you know, when you're down, there's nowhere to go but up. I'm sure kapansin-pansin naman na iba yung hairstyle ko ngayon. It's so funny because when I was reminiscing my channel as I closed off last year, syempre I went back to my first episode and that was like a few weeks after I had shaved my head. Tapos ngayon in this new year, jejeng, meron na akong bangs. Anyway, at least I tried it. Actually, sa kaka-K-drama ko lang to. But moving forward, I have a bunch of good news to share with you guys before I get to the New Year's resolutions. Some of you may already know this from my Facebook or Instagram stories, but I'm going to make the official announcement today that last year I was signed as a wellness partner by one of the biggest health maintenance organizations in the Philippines, and that's Maxicare. And that's why I'm wearing Maxicare blue. So you'll see some of my episodes streaming in their primary care units. They have so many all around the Philippines. And I'm just so happy to have that opportunity to keep sharing what I know with many more people. And then for those of you who saw that I got featured on Smart Parenting last December, and that was about episode 17. And I also posted the link on my Facebook and Instagram accounts, so you can go there to check it out. At hindi ko napapatagalin pa, here are my 12 resolutions to get your child talking. Number 1 is to talk to your child all the time. Anytime, about anything and anywhere. So long as you are in the same sound space as your child, as in anywhere near na maririnig ka pa rin niya, keep talking to your child about anything that your child is possibly looking at, something that is going on in the environment, something that they can perceive with their senses, and you comment on that, whether short or long or as in parang kinukwentuhan mo siya, regardless of whether you think hindi pa naman niya ako maiintindihan. Believe me, it's true. They probably don't comprehend what you're saying, but they absorb all of these words. With all the things you're saying, they are creating patterns in their head about how to use it themselves. So talk to your child. All of my previous episodes are, of course, about how to talk to your child better or how to stimulate their speech and language. But particularly, if you want to look back, there's episode 2 about imitation. There's episode 4 that I called TikTok therapy, but it's actually running commentary. And there's episode 6 about mindful modeling. So go check those out. Number 2 is make it meaningful or stay in context. So just because naisipan mo, parang gusto kong ituro yung word na daddy ngayon, but wala si daddy at the moment. Wala ka ring hawak na picture ni daddy. Wala ring damit ni daddy. As in, absolutely, if there is nothing that refers to daddy in your child's context at the moment, it's not the best idea for that to be your target word. Always remember to make it meaningful, because that's how they will make connections and associations. Is if they are looking at something, label that object which they are looking at. If they can hear something, label that sound. So, kunyari, may dumaan na ambulansya, kahit hindi niya yung nakikita, ulitin mo yung sound. Wee-oo, wee-oo, and then say, ambulance? Ambulance sa labas. Uh-oh, may nasaktan. Wee-oo, wee-oo, let's go fast. So those are just examples of how you can keep it in context. Number 3, repeat, repeat, repeat. 1 or 2 or 3 times is not enough. Some studies say that you have to repeat more than 50 times for a word to be acquired or para matutunan ng isang bata ang isang new word. Alam ko pong nakakapagod to repeat, but this is really one of the easiest and tried and tested things that you can do for a child to learn new things is to keep repeating. I repeated numbers 2 and 3 from episode 1 kasi favorite ko talaga silang tips. If you want to look back at what I said about making it meaningful and repeating, go back to episode 1 and check it out. Number 4, take the time to play with your child. Especially with super young infants and toddlers, we should try not to do so many tabletop activities like teaching them the alphabet, ABC, or the numbers like 1, 2, 3. They'll have time for that when they get to school. So really, the most important thing you can give your child is time to play and to explore manipulable toys with them. Not screen games or anything, but like blocks and laces and doll houses and cooking sets. These are some of the things that are super good for your child. If there is an opportunity to socialize them and play, as in meron ba siyang sibling, meron bang pinsan, meron bang neighbor in the same compound. Of course, meron tayong pandemic ngayon and, you know, it's very hard to have them socialize, pero it's important for them to be exposed to other children to learn the social aspects of language, like turn-taking and sharing. So those are actually more important than them learning how to read at 2 years old. And on that note, number 5, take their lead. So minsan naman, baka naman you are teaching the alphabet and the numbers because nakikita nyo, parang yun ang nagiging interest ng anak nyo. And I have seen children that do gravitate toward identifying their ABCs and their 1, 2, 3s. But if you also see, so just become more observant. Now, if your child doesn't seem to want to learn the alphabet and prefer to play with their cars or build towers with their blocks, you grant them that time. That is their chance to explore. And this is a great way to see, ano ba talagang interest ng child ko? And you can use that in more learning opportunities later on. If they enjoy it, they will learn more from it. Kahit ano pang i-target nyo using the things that they are interested in. Number 6 is find the root of the problem. So sometimes kasi, iniisip natin, ay, ayaw lang niyang magsalita, tapos yun na yun. But actually, kung bigyan natin ng panahon para makita bakit kaya may ganung problema, mas maintindihan rin natin how to create solutions for it. Concrete example, ang dami-daming parents na dinidescribe yung anak nila sa akin as, ayaw lang niyang magsalita, teach. Ang dami-dami na niyang naiintindihan, pero ayaw niyang magsalita. And then makikita ko or malalaman ko later on from feedback or because I've worked with the family for quite some time, na yung bata, hindi naman sa ayaw magsalita, pero hindi niya nararamdaman yung need na gamitin yung salita niya. Kasi konting kibulang niya, ito ba ang gusto mo? Tubig? Or konting turo lang niya, bigay agad. So hindi niya nararamdaman na may kailangan siyang gawin para makuha yung mga bagay na gusto niya. Kasi andyan na lahat. And I talked about this in my 2-part episode 8 about creating opportunities. If you want a more detailed description and how to see if, nako, ganito ba kami sa bahay, go check it out. And related to finding the root of the problem is number 7, setting clear and reasonable expectations. So I've had new parents come to me, syempre assessment pa lang. Tapos sabihin ko, oh sige, ano pong chief complaint? Tapos sabihin nila, kasi teach, kapag tinatanong ko po yung anak ko, hindi siya sumasagot sa akin. And then pag probe ko, ilang taon na po ba yung anak nyo? Tapos biglang 2 years old pa lang pala. So I mean, yes, there are some 2-year-olds na kapag tinanong mo ng, let's say, what question or, you know, yes or no questions, nakakasagot. Iba-iba kasi yung pag-develop ng mga bata. So may mga bata talagang 2 years old, hindi pa masasagot yung mga tanong mo. Hindi pa sila at the question answering level. So just make sure that nung ine-expect nyo dun sa mga anak nyo, ay akma naman dun sa milestone ng kanilang speech and language development. Number 8 ties number 6 and 7 together because 6 and 7 are actually part of finding their zone of proximal development. Yes, I talked about this na in episode 14. So my number 8 is to scaffold or to give them the help that they need at whatever level they are at right now. So, ang scaffolding po ay pagbibigay ng cues. Pag nakikita nyo hindi pa talaga nila alam ang konsepto ng isang bagay, ito ay pag-repeat ng model or ng target word nyo. Tapos habang tumatagal, makikita nyo na hindi nyo na kailangang i-repeat yung word. Minsan kahit part of the word na lang, masasabi na nila yung word. So, just make sure that you provide them the help that they need and avoid testing. Kasi minsan gusto natin, ay naturo ko na yan, nasabi ko na yan sa kanya 2 times. And then we expect na, o sige, for this time, di ko na ibibigay yung word kasi nasabi ko na yan eh. So medyo unfair po yun sa bata. So let's always remember to give them the help that they need. Itong number 9, I always talk about this and I think most of the techniques that I've described, and it is to always acknowledge the attempt to communicate. So whether this is clapping for them or saying, hey, that was good, or good try, or I heard that you said this word. So it could be verbal praise, it could be gestural praise like this, or it could just be giving them the item that they were reaching for when they said a word like give or the name of the object, ball. Whatever it is, just make sure that you don't ignore them. So, kunyari, nagsasalita na yung anak nyo dyan sa gilid, ball, ball, ball. Tapos wala kang ginagawa, ini-ignore mo lang siya. Baka mawalan siya ng gana or isipin niya, wala palang nangyayari kapag ginagamit ko yung words ko eh. So we should be careful and always acknowledge their attempts. Whether the attempts are imperfect or incomplete, you acknowledge it just to keep motivating them to keep trying. Number 10 is to monitor screen time. So episode 21, I've already described so many of the effects of screen time, especially to infants and toddlers. And a big part of the reason why I want you to monitor screen time is time in front of the screen is usually time spent not talking to your child. And remember, we go back to number 1, and the biggest investment you can give to your child is to keep on talking to them. But I also realized that screen materials can be used as language prompts. So if you are able to use the screen with your older children as a means to getting them talking about topics and stories, then that's fine. And then there's also the reassurance that I told you na, fine, there will be moments where you really just need a few seconds of space and quiet and you put a screen in front of your child. That's fine and under your discretion, but always remember, like I said in episode 21, just don't make it a habit and make sure to try to follow the recommended guidelines set by physicians about screen time in an entire day. Number 11 is to make sure to consult with a professional if you have suspicions about your child's development. So the moment that you find something fishy, trust your instinct, don't fight it. I empathize that it's something na mahirap tanggapin to realize kung, oy, parang may delay yung anak ko or parang may hindi tama with the way that he or she is communicating. I suggest na magpatingin na po agad, magkonsulta na po agad sa isang professional like your pedia to see if kailangan ng developmental pediatrician and if kailangan ng therapy services like with an occupational therapist or a speech-language therapist. Bakit? Because early intervention is best and you and your family will benefit from that in the long run. And number 12. Paano ba ito lalabas? Number 12 is, and I think is the most important, is forgive yourself every day and acknowledge your own attempts of wanting to help your child. Because I want you to remember that learning is a process. You learning the techniques is a process. It takes practice. Your child learning their speech and language is a process. It is not something that happens overnight. So don't beat yourself up if hindi pa rin nakuha ng anak ko at the end of the day. Sinubukan ko na tong technique na to, hindi talaga nag-work. Maybe it just hasn't worked right now, but it will eventually, and it will someday, and I hope to be able to keep helping you. And I know for sure, mas lalo yung mga parents dyan, I know you're trying your best for your children. That's your nature as parents. I'm so glad to be able to share these 12 resolutions with you, and I hope na even if hindi mo sila ma-resolve to do sabay-sabay, I made them 12 exactly so that you may want to try working on them 1 per month hanggang ma-master mo sila. And by the end of the year, meron ka ng 12 new traits that will be helpful to you and your family. And I came up with this list with a lot of help from my colleagues na mga speech-language pathologists. Then, my lovely classmates, thank you for sharing your valuable opinions on what parents may want to work on in this new year. And that's it po. Hindi ko na po pahahabain. Let's all have a great, banging, awesome year. If you want to get in touch with me, you can leave comments sa comment section, or you may contact me privately on Facebook and Instagram at Teacher Kaye Talks. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Tara guys, let's try to hit 1,000 subscribers this year, huh? Alright, so that's it, and happy talking!